We've got breaking news out of the NBA where Julius Randle has agreed to a new 3-year, $100 million deal with the Timberwolves. That's according to ESPN. He declined his $31 million option in favor of a new long-term contract with the T-Wolves. The three-time All-Star was dealt to Minnesota in October as part of the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. In his first season with the T-Wolves, Randle posted just under 19.7 rebounds per game as the Timberwolves made the conference finals in back-to-back years for the first time in franchise history. We've got our NBA host and analyst John Gonzalez joining us now. And John, as we hear the news of Julius Randle sticking with the Minnesota Timberwolves, your first reaction to him being a part of this core now with Anthony Edwards and of course now Naz Reid too?
Yeah, I think this was probably not in the Timberwolves' long-term best interest, but they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here, Mike. On the one hand, they went to back-to-back Western Conference Finals, as you mentioned, right? So if you're one of those teams, it's very rare to do that. You think to yourself, hey, even in a loaded Western Conference, we're competitors. We were right there. We could have potentially unseated Oklahoma City. Maybe it could have been us that went to the NBA Finals. So why don't we just keep the core together? But, you know, with Julius Randle, locking him into 3 years for $100 million with a player option on the back end, that makes that contract tougher to unload if down the road you decide, hey, we want to move on from him. I wasn't a huge Julius Randle guy to begin with. Starting last year, I thought that the Knicks got the better end of that trade. Initially, when the team got off to a slow start, I thought maybe they should unplug Julius Randle from the starting lineup, move him to the bench. In fairness, he was much better after the All-Star break. He really changed how he played. It was less of the ball goes in, he dribbles the air out of the ball, and he wasn't much of a passer or a facilitator. That changes as the season went along. However, I'm just not sure that there's a huge Julius Randle market here. And now you're probably just under the second apron, but still in an apron situation, first apron situation, that's going to make team building pretty difficult. And they were always coming into this year, or this offseason rather, deciding between, it was a sort of a pick-two situation between Naz Reid, Julius Randle, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Well, Naz Reid got his extension. Now Julius Randle gets his, so it's probably bye-bye Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It's going to make things tough for the Wolves going forward.
You mentioned being stuck between a rock and a hard place because they did make it back to the Western Conference Finals. So when you look at the Thunder, if they are the team that's going to be the perennial power there in the West, just how close are they really with this move?
Yeah, I mean, they're in a group, it's a grab bag situation where if you threw in, I don't know, 6 to 8 other teams in the Western Conference, you picked one out, Mike, and you told me that's the team that's going to challenge Oklahoma City next year, I'd say, sure, that makes sense. I mean, you got the Lakers and the Warriors and the Nuggets and obviously the Wolves, because the Wolves are have made back-to-back Western Conference Finals, but you've got ascendant teams, too, that you've got to factor in, like the Spurs, the Clippers last year, I think, were better than the sum of their parts, and we'll see what happens with James Harden as this day continues. But yeah, they're in the mix, but I wouldn't have them as the principal contender to challenge Oklahoma City next year. Don't forget that they got off to a pretty slow start. They played much better after the All-Star break, for sure, after the new year. And once they got into the Western Conference playoffs, they really started to gain some momentum. But, you know, they also drew the Golden State Warriors when Steph Curry was damaged. So that's super helpful, right? And then all of a sudden they got the Lakers in 5, then they got Golden State in 5, and then all of a sudden they show up to play Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City absolutely steamrolled them. I thought the Pacers gave Oklahoma City a much better effort. I thought the Nuggets gave Oklahoma City a much better effort. So how close are they? You know, I don't think that they're all that close.
It'll be interesting to see, but here we go. We got another domino that has fallen today. We talked about LeBron James opting in to his player option earlier today. Now Julius Randle has. John, thank you so much. Again, Julius Randle has opted out, but signed the 3-year is going to sign a 3-year extension with the T-Wolves. But here are some other notable upcoming dates in the association. Free agency is going to begin tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Summer League action starts July 5th to the 8th. Then free agent signing period is going to open July 6th. And after that, we have the Las Vegas Summer League running for 10 days there in July.